Hi, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot on a gloomy Saturday in New York City. Wonder how everybody's doing today. You know, when I come to do these things on Saturdays, sometimes I have an idea, sometimes I don't have a plan and don't know what to discuss. Hello, Red Wing. Good morning or afternoon. I'm not sure where you are. And sometimes I have to sort of take a little time out to figure out what we might talk about related to tarot. So, came into my head this morning. I've been having a little bit of trouble lately communicating, particularly through mediums like telephones and video chat. Hello, Heather. And I know that communication is a problem, a challenge. It's really important. And hi, SCB. And sometimes it's difficult. Even if we share the same language, we don't always share the same language, if you know what I mean. Hi, Emma. So we can be easily misunderstood. Now, I've had hello, Rolf. I've had a couple of problems lately in communicating with friends and family via texting on the telephone. Hello, Saskia. And it's caused complications. And I have been basically confronted with the issue that I have been hurtful to these friends and relatives, which I didn't see at the time. I wasn't aware of. It wasn't my intention. It came about through how I conveyed or handled myself over text on the phone. And sometimes texts don't convey tone, which I'm sure most of you have experienced when you've used chats in chat rooms. Sometimes you'll say something that's misinterpreted or doesn't come out, isn't received the way you intended it. So there can be times where it's very difficult, even though you've got a technological connection to another person, you're not really connecting. And what do you do about that? For instance, last night I got a call from a friend I hadn't spoken to in quite a while, and was basically confronted with what they said, that I had been hurtful to them. They had been very hurt by something I had texted to them. And it was very difficult for me to hear. And I didn't quite know what to do, because the way it came out over the phone, and this wasn't text, this was an actual phone call, but not a video chat. First of all, when I answered the call, I had trouble with my phone because I've been doing video chats, I've been doing phone calls, I've been doing text, and I'm terrible at techno stuff. And things like telephones confuse me. So I didn't know if they were video calling me or if they were regular calling me, and I was trying to find out which was which. And then I finally did figure it out, and I said, look, it would be better if we can communicate through video chat so we can see each other, but they weren't ready to do that. So I said, okay, well, I'm having trouble with the phone. Can I put you on what do you call it? Not voicemail. What's it called? Speakerphone. Can I put you on speakerphone? Because at least I can hear better rather than trying to hold the phone up to my ear. It's very awkward, very difficult. They said, sure. But then I was struggling to find out on my cell phone which screen I needed to be on in order to click from earphone to speakerphone. And so that kind of took a little time. I think they were getting a little bit impatient with me, or maybe even thought I was intentionally trying not to talk to them. I finally did sort it out and get them on speakerphone. I said, okay, that's better now. I can hear you. You can hear me. And then they sort of launched into this thing about things that I had done or texted that they found very hurtful. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening, but I'm listening with the expectation that at some point I'm going to be able to answer them or respond to them. And the tone that their message was delivered to me in was very confrontational. And I felt like it was in expectation of me responding. And so I tended to want to explain myself or defend myself. And that didn't seem to be what they wanted. Now, I know a lot of times people just want to be heard. And so when I'm kind of put on the spot on the phone, I don't quite know how to handle that in real time. So I need to figure out a way to respond to accusations or people expressing themselves without kind of jumping in, defending myself or explaining myself. I felt like there was information missing that they needed to know that would help explain to them the things that I texted and why I texted them and what was going on in my world. But it didn't seem like they were willing to hear it, or they didn't understand where I was coming from. They basically just kind of wanted to shout me down and, yell at me or whatever. And I could have just sat there and listened, but the dead silent space, I wonder what is expected of me. Am I expected to respond or remain in silence? That's awkward. What do I say? And so I guess I should have said, I'm listening, and then let them go on, just to let them know that I'm thinking now, if I'd said, I hear you, it's almost an acknowledgement of my guilt. I hear you. Yeah, you're right. That's what I did. But if I said, I'm listening, it's a little bit more like, I'm open to hearing what you have to say and kind of wondering whether this is something you want me to respond to or not. It's very difficult to know how to deal with something like that. So I waited for the pause, and then I kind of jumped in and I said, can I explain? Can I explain? And they sort of let me explain, but then when I explained, it was like, I already knew all that, or I knew most of that, or that doesn't explain why you did what you did. It was very difficult. And what I should have done was found some way to take in what they had to say, take some time off to stand back, investigate what the accusations were, go through the text and so forth, and refresh my memory before responding. I'm just going to scroll back here a second because some other people came in. Sandra came in. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Kristen. Let's see. I'm definitely not good with confrontation. I have to step back, take a deep breath, and think carefully before responding. I'm not good with confrontation either. Hello, Elspeth. This is one of the hardest parts of being a human. Yeah. So anyway, I didn't know what to do. I apologize. I basically said I apologize. This was not my intent, and I didn't know what else to say. And it got very heated, and then I was trying to be very calm, and then this person said, "I'm hearing a tone from you," and I said, "Well, you're confronting me. You're accusing me. I'm feeling a tone from you, or you're shouting at me, or whatever." And they said, I'm not. I said, I can't talk anymore about this. So then they hung up, and I thought, okay, now I have to figure out how to deal with this. So I sat down and thought of a way that I could compose a text, very cool-headed, and said, I apologize. I don't know how to fix this. If you have some suggestions, I don't know how to proceed, but, was never my intention to offend. And then I just kind of left it with that. And they texted back and said, they are not ready to address this right now. And I thought, okay, well, I need to let them know that I read what they said rather than just leave that hanging. But I don't want my response to that to seem like a rebuff or, whatever. So I thought, oh, what word do I say? I could say okay. And I thought, I don't know if that's right. I could say, I hear you, but then I don't know if that's right. I ended up using the word acknowledged, just one word, acknowledged. In other words, I received what you texted me. I read it. I acknowledged that. And I didn't know how that would be perceived, but they did send me a little thumbs up emoji. So it's like, okay, apparently that was an acceptable word, acknowledged. And now we're giving each other time to see how we connect or don't connect in the future. So it was a difficult situation. I still don't quite know what to do. I immediately wanted to get on the phone to somebody else to talk to them about it. And I was going to call my my partner, and but he had already, it was after 11, he'd already gone to sleep, so I couldn't do that. So then I turned to my tarot. And I wonder how many of you do this, how many of you turn to tarot when you don't know where else to turn. So I made a couple of notes about that. I wondered, when you have issues with communication and you feel like you're in need of a confidant, somebody you can tell your troubles to, can you use tarot as your confidant? Can tarot be your companion? Can tarot be someone that you feel safe turning to? 100% says MA. I turn to tarot in situations like that too, says Sandra. Some folks just love drama, says Heather. People are being sympathetic. So, yeah, I do this a lot. I turn to tarot a lot for guidance every day. It's almost like it's turned into a religion for me. It's like spiritual guidance. And as many of you know, I use majors only decks primarily. I often go on to use full 78 card tarot decks, but most of the time I just use the 22 cards, 23 in my case, because I use my deck, and my deck has an additional card. But I realize for me, as opposed to the approach of many others, for me, tarot is a psychological tool, and it gives me cues and prompts and questions. So tarot doesn't so much judge me as it will ask me questions to consider, to think about. So I might use that a little bit today to see, how one should go about things like this. So I have my open face tarot. You can use any deck. You can use a majors. You can use a full deck. I find that the majors kind of works better for me. It gets to points that I can use as cues and prompts for questions that are bigger points and more meaningful to me, maybe because I created this deck and I have a connection with it. I forgot to welcome in Nothing So Strange, and did I see somebody else that I know? I thought there was someone else, but I can't find them now. Okay. Tarot, yes, it definitely can call you out. Okay. So I'm going to shuffle my cards. First, I'm going to say, I'm going to ask it, okay, I'm having problems with communication. Is this something you can help me with? And I get the Sun card. Now I need to pause for a minute and think about the Sun card. And in this one, I see a figure moving forward slowly on a horse and being illuminated by the rays of the sun. So this is basically telling me, yes, I can help you. I'm advising you to proceed slowly, cautiously. And the slower you go, the more you will be illuminated with information on how to proceed. If you remain calm, if you consider what you're doing and take it all in like the sun's rays, it will warm you, it will illuminate you. You will be able to figure out how better to communicate. And that's a little bit of a challenge in this day and age because everything is moving so fast and our communications are so clipped and abbreviated down to anagrams and emojis. Like people don't even want to type out or spell out things anymore. Tweets, which I guess even aren't called tweets anymore, are limited to a number of characters. Even the chats in chat rooms are limited to a number of characters. Sometimes one can't fully explain oneself. So, you need to pause and consider and move slowly. Good advice, good advice. Let's see, what question can I ask next? Is there a particular way I should go about remedying this situation with this friend? I also have a similar situation with a family member. I don't know whether to divide the two. They're the same kind of problem. So I'm going to say, and I have given that some time, but how much time does one give before one reaches out? Or does one wait for the other person to reach out? Does that create a wider gap if you're the one patiently waiting? Does it express disinterest in solving the problem? Does it feel like you've written the other person off? I don't want that. So let me see. How can I begin to remedy this situation? With love. With love. Show love. Share love. Now, how do you share love and to make sure that the love is shared and you're not miscommunicating intention there? Carefully, with temperance. You mete it out, you measure it out, you test your steps as you go. The devil. Beware of temptation to say things you shouldn't. Beware of falling back into that mode of confrontation or self-defense. Yeah, that has no place in love, in a love connection. And when I say love connection, I think you know what I mean. I'm not talking about romance. I'm talking about sympathy and support. The Hanged Man, suspense. Also looking at something from a different perspective, but suspended in motion or movement. Take enough time to be able to consider other perspectives before you begin to take action. So, I could have just pulled one card, but I'd keep pulling them and they give me more and more information. The High Priestess. Use your intuition. What are you feeling? And sort out your feelings such that they don't have biases. You're kind of between two places, and you might be in your head, but being in your head, you need to be quiet in your head. You need to be centered. You need to be able to find a sympathetic way to relate. Put yourself in the position of the other person. That doesn't always work either, but do your best to switch places and see if they had done to you what you'd done to them, how you might carry forward with that, how you might work with that. The Moon card. Oh my goodness. This is sort of like a dynamic or a head-to-head headbutt between confrontation, between instinct and reason. Your natural instinct may be to jump in and defend yourself. You may even want to try to reason your way through in doing that. Those both seem kind of on the same side of the path in this situation. But as with the moon, there's always more going on than we are aware of, than we see. So that's something to think about. There are more elements here than we're taking in. So far I'm getting the message to be calm, be patient, be considerate, be thoughtful, try to figure out where this is coming from the other side of the argument. I'm still not quite sure how and when I should take steps to approach the other person. Do I give them all the time in the world? And if so, do we just totally drift apart out of each other's lives? Or how much time do I give and then take steps to try to remedy the problem? So already with the family member, I've given a couple weeks. That might be long enough or too long. This other one, the friend, that was last night. So today might be too soon. I think with the family member, I might be able to reach out, but I have to be careful about how I do it. And this is my 23rd archetype card, the Who Are You card. Who are you? What is it in your makeup, in your disposition, in your personality that you will be approaching this person with? How will you approach them? What is in your nature in the way you approach? I think what I'm going to do with the family member, I'm going to text them, but text them briefly and say, I would like to have a conversation with you, but I don't know if you are comfortable with that. Please respond to let me know your thoughts. Maybe that's enough. What do you guys think? That way the family member can either say, yes, call me, or they can say, A, B, C, D, E, this is what I'm thinking. Either way, I'll have more information than I have now. So, yeah. Difficult emotional situation. And I think one of my biggest problems is technology can be a service, but it also can be unhelpful in many ways. Saskia says, I think that's the best way to go. Thank you. My initial impulse is I don't want anything to do with my phone. I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to communicate. I don't want to text. I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want to create conflict. And so it's kind of like throw your phone out the window, turn off your phone, don't communicate, but then you become hermit-like. And does that work? So, no, one person I never have to turn off, I call it a person, is my tarot. Never have to turn that off. My tarot never misunderstands me because I can always go to it and it can confront me, but it doesn't reflect, or it reflects me. It doesn't confront me in a hurtful way because it's all in how I read the images. And I approach tarot as a question asker. So if something comes up on a card, it gives me a question to confront myself with, but in a very calm way. It's not like reading me the riot act. It's like, okay, look at this. Have you thought about this? Or have you asked yourself this? So that's kind of how I use tarot. And I use it daily, as a guidance system. I'll get up and I'll think, what do I have to do today? And if I have something particular to do, what's the best way to accomplish it or go about it? And then I draw cards. Or, if I have nothing to do, what should I do today? Or is there anything I need to keep an eye out for today? Maybe just going about my chores or my business, or just having a luxury day of quiet self-contemplation. Is there anything I need to look to the horizon for, or see something coming down the street in my direction that I need to circumvent, avoid. Maybe I need to duck in this shop. Maybe I need to look the other way. Maybe I need to not make eye contact with this particular stranger. Maybe I need to smile and say hello. What do I need to do here? So it's a dreary day out. Like I have these lingering thoughts and feelings about these phone calls. Don't know if I might, having talked to you guys and the tarot, I might text the family member and put that out there about communicating. I think I will. I think I'll watch Simon's live after mine. And after that, I don't think I have anything on my daily agenda. So that might be a good time to text this family member and let them know that I'm open to communication if they're open to it. I'd like that. We'll see what happens. The other one, the more recent one, I think maybe I should give a little more time. They did close with they weren't ready yet to go further with this. And I wasn't sure if that meant, the way they put it, whether that's the end of that friendship or whether they just need time to process and they'll get back in touch with me, or whether they need some time and then expect me at some point to get back in touch. But I'm going to give that one some time, I think. Hi, Al Phillips. Welcome. You might want to start at the beginning and see what we're talking about today, because it's basically about how to deal with difficulties in communication, particularly with people you care about. It could be anybody, but when there are misunderstandings in close relationships, how you go about resolving them, and being able to use tarot as a tool to kind of sort out your emotional process moving forward. How to, well, I'm not using the minors, but I'm thinking about the knights. The knights often charge right in without thinking. And so in using the majors, I remove the knight issue from the deck. Might be replaced by the devil a little bit, the sort of temptation to charge in, or the fool, maybe to step back in foolishly without thinking or carefully considering. I think most of the times, though, that the major arcana archetypes are really helpful in guiding us in our steps. SCB, I don't believe you did anything that bad. It sometimes feels that people want to take offense. It does, but you don't want to convey that to them. They don't want to hear that, Yeah. Somebody said, everybody's going through something, and none of us know what everybody else is going through, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. So we might think we know what's going on. We never truly know what's going on. Even when people share it with you, maybe they don't share the whole thing, or maybe they're not honest with themselves. Maybe they have issues to deal with. I can backtrack a little about this situation. Things that I said to this person, texted to this person, that became hurtful to them or problematic, was I was trying to kind of remove myself from texting and phone stuff, because at the time I was traumatized. I had my food stamp card hacked and all my money stolen out of it by somebody else. I had one of my credit cards hacked and someone put a big charge on it. I had to stop the credit card and have it reissued. I had to go to an office to fill out forms to get my food stamp card reissued. Then on top of that, I was communicating with strangers in a romantic sense on apps, hookup apps, and some guy scammed me and tried to extorted money from me when I was like at a vulnerable point, and said, you need to send me $5,000 or I'm going to ruin your life. So these were three major events having to deal with phone and technology, and credit cards and, digital accounts and things that it really was very traumatic for me. And I thought, oh, I fear anything, any call, any text that comes in with a number that it doesn't have a name attached to it, I don't want to answer. Or anybody that sends me links, even if they think they're amusing, fun links to share or graphics, if I don't know the person or I don't know the link or don't trust the link, is it someone trying to get into my account and hack my account? I don't want it. I don't want those. I don't want to deal with that. And so I think I may have conveyed that to this person, like, I'm having issues right now. Please don't send me any more of these, links that you're sending me at the moment, And I may have used the word frivolous because the things they were sending me were silly, fun things that normally between friends is entertaining. But sometimes if you don't know where the links are coming from, whether there's a virus embedded or what the heck is going on, and when you're in this place of trauma like I was, and your trust level goes way down, it's not like you're accusing the other person of purposely trying to sabotage you, but it's difficult to even know if that is the person or if it's a stranger that's somehow gotten into their account or your account and is trying to do you further damage. So I was in not a great state of mind when I had been dealing with this person. And I don't think I was mean at all. I did look back at the text, but I don't know. He felt the word frivolous was very harsh. And the word frivolous, like I was demeaning his humorous little video TikTok clips or whatever that he was trying to send to me to, amuse me or entertain me. And it's like I was not in a proper state to receive those because I didn't know what else was going on with my communications. And so in a moment of panic, I used the word, please don't send me any more. You could text me, you can phone me, but don't send me any more of these frivolous, links or videos or whatever. And that was an ill-chosen word on my part, I guess, frivolous, although I still don't think frivolous is that bad of a word. Frivolous seemed to me what I guess I was trying to say, if it's not entirely necessary and important in our connection, please refrain for the time being from sending me things like this. Some people use memes and video links as a way of connecting with others. My sister does this. Most of the time it's fine, but sometimes it feels frivolous and annoying. It wasn't even so much that I was annoyed. That what they were sending was perfectly harmless, I think, if the link was authentic, which I was questioning. But also, sometimes some people know you better than other people, and it's like I will send links to people, and I've done it to some of you, where it's like, oh, this is something so-and-so's been talking about. I wonder if this information would be helpful to them to expand their studies. And then I'll send them a link, or if a conversation has come up about a topic and more information is supplied by a video on YouTube or something, I will send them a link and say, oh, you might want to check this out. And I should say it relates to what you were talking about rather than just, you might want to check this out. That's probably not wise these days. You need to be a little bit wordier in explaining why you're sending what you're sending. But we don't do that these days. Like I said, we abbreviate, we use anagrams, we use emojis. We'll just like send a random clip and think we're doing something witty or funny or wise, and you don't know how that's going to come across. So anyway, I don't know. It feels like I've kind of gone down two paths here. One of them has to do with my personal issues and problems and emotions and communication. The other has to do with tarot as a true friend, tarot as a companion, tarot as a confidant. And I kind of wonder, I'm curious to hear from you guys in chat if I know that you're limited to the number of characters you can put in there, but if any of you have any stories or anything you want to relate to back up or support things that you feel about tarot as your personal companion and confidant and somebody that you can trust in or rely on. It's like a lot of people I tell this to don't get it. It's like, what are you talking about? It's a deck of cards. It's like images on paper. How can that be your friend? Or how can you give such seriousness and importance and relevance in your life to a deck of images, you know? But it's more than that. It's not even, I mean, yes, it's images, but it's ideas and concepts that are relayed through symbols and images. So and I compare it a lot to therapy, and that gets really tricky too, because people say, no. You've never been to therapy, or you don't understand therapy. Tarot is not therapy. But tarot to me can be therapeutic. So tarot to me is kind of some mode of therapy for me. Don't necessarily have to say that or defend that to other people, but it's since I discovered tarot and am learning more and more about it, I value it more and more. I've also run into people who say, oh, I can't read tarot for myself. And that I think that depends a lot on who you are and how you approach tarot. I'm not sure I can fully relate to people not being able to do that. Maybe it's they can't separate themselves from their own biases going into tarot. Usually, my recommendation or what I try to do is remove myself as if I'm reading tarot and the question for a total stranger, somebody I don't know, or maybe I know their circumstances, but I have no vested interest in slanting the cards one way or another. I try to remain as unbiased and open as possible with these archetypes. And sometimes I'll think, oh, I bet such and such a card is going to come up because this is the way I'm thinking. And it doesn't. Something else comes up to challenge me. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I wonder how you guys do, and I'm not hearing, nobody's responding at the moment. But I hope SCV, tarot is like talking to my dog. Never judges, but always tells the truth and never, ever leaves me. Right. Yeah. My dog, Tarot. Wonder if anybody has ever named their dog Tarot. I like that idea. Unconditional love. We receive unconditional love from the tarot, like we receive it from our pets, particularly dogs. I'm not a cat person, but that's me. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm going to take the full hour today, unless people have other things that they want to address in the chat, in which case I'll entertain that. I am here to listen if you have things to say. But I think I've probably covered most of what crossed my mind today in terms of validating tarot as your confidant and companion and trusted advisor. Actually, one of the cards that I pulled when I was in my first response or reaction to this upsetting call, I'm going to find the card to show it to you, is this one. I got the Hierophant card. I thought, oh, I've just been confronted by this call, and how should I deal with it? And I got the Hierophant card, and at first I wasn't sure how to read that card. And then I thought, well, are you the one doing the talking, or are you the one doing the listening? That was a really interesting perspective for me on the Hierophant, because I don't usually read the Hierophant that way. But in here we've got these supplicants, and we've got somebody up front talking, and we got the other two listening. So it's like in this conversation that's emotional and difficult, am I prepared to listen to what the other person has to say? Or do I feel like I have to make my explanation known and defend myself to the other person? So I thought that was really an interesting card to come up when I ask it about this particular communication. Because the Hierophant is about other things too, but it really is about a certain kind of communication. It's almost like one person dictating to others. There's a question: was this party dictating to me? And sometimes you need to just be a good listener and listen to what the other person has to say. You don't often see supplicants confronting the bishop or the pope or saying, now wait a minute here, I don't agree with that at all, or you're wrong, or I did this because I sinned because of this. Yeah, we don't usually get that. So anyway, I think that's interesting, and I also love that by accident or fate that I have the Who Are You card in my deck. It's an additional card. Now, a lot of people use significator cards, and it could be any card you choose in the deck, and then it will have the same kind of meaning, but also additional meanings. But I love that one sort of stops me in my path, in my tracks, and says, who are you? Where are you coming from? Why did you do that? What are you going to do now? When are you going to do it? What makes up all of who you are? Who, how, when, what, where, why? That's you. And what does that consist of? What are you? Who are you? That seems like maybe a good place to leave it today. So I'm going to let you all go, and I'll see many of you in a few minutes over at the Hermit's Cave. Seems like I've sort of turned this into a lead-in show to the Hermit's Cave, which I don't mind. And I hope Simon appreciates that. I don't have a lot of people I'm sending his direction, but some of you. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.